Good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Stephanie Heyer. I'm the Senior Program Officer at the Foundation, and I'm so glad that you've joined us for this webinar, Partnering for Community Impact, an overview of TGKVF opportunities. Today's webinar will be an information session on the different kinds of opportunities available through the Greater Canal Valley Foundation, with a specific focus on the Foundation's program team. For those who are not familiar with the Foundation, you are in for a surprise because we are so much more than just grants. For those who do know us or think they know us, this will be a nice refresher on what opportunities we do provide, and you might even learn something about the program team that you didn't already know. A couple of housekeeping items. Take care of yourself. We'll be together for the next hour and a half. I know we've all done a lot of Zoom webinars lately, so feel free to get up, stretch, get yourself some water. The video feature for participants is turned off, so you can prop your feet up or eat your lunch. Use the chat box today. So we want to hear from you. Please use the chat box to ask questions or share comments. We will end today around 12:30, but we saved plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So please share throughout the webinar through the chat feature, and we will monitor those questions and comments and address them at the end. Finally, today's webinar is recorded. So if you had so much fun that you want to go back and watch it again, you can find the webinar on our website at www.tgkvf.org. Or if you have a friend or colleague that couldn't join us today, you can refer them to the website to catch that recording. We're also on Facebook Live now, so share with your friends. With that, I will turn it over to our President and CEO, Dr. Michelle Foster.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone, and I hope you are nice and dry somewhere on this rainy Thursday morning. Thank you for showing up today to learn more about the Greater Canal Valley Foundation, where I have the pleasure of working with a dynamic team of professionals who are all about making an impact in our community. Just a few things about me. I think, first of all, I want to just mention that I am not a native West Virginian. I moved to West Virginia by choice, and I've loved it ever since moving here way back in the 90s. I was born in Guyana in South America, which is at the northern tip of the continent in Georgetown, Guyana. Just a few things about me. I love making candles. My favorite West Virginia band is the Bob Thompson Unit, and that's the photo you see there. I love to line dance, not just line dancing, but soul line dancing. I totally enjoy that. And my favorite project of all time is an urban farm that I was a part of developing in Dunbar when I was at KISRA, a nonprofit doing great things in West Virginia. So a few things about me. We're here. I just wanted to first start off by giving you some insights into who we are as a foundation, as a community foundation, an entity that is not only about providing funds, but we're also about building capacity and building the field of philanthropy, convening and connecting people, using our leadership and influence to make things better for the people who we're in partnership with, and also investing our assets and leveraging them. We are, first thing about us, those of you who may have known little about us, we used to be in the Huntington Bank building on Lee Street, Lee and Dickinson. Now we're on Summer Street at the corner of Summers and Brawley Walkway. accessible ground floor space that we just love. So you can walk up to our door, we're always open and here to receive you and to help you in your project. Our vision is that as a community that will be closely connected, that will be working together so that everyone can prosper. So that's our vision for our community foundation. Then our mission is about building the different forms of wealth in our community, really listening to the community, and then making those very thoughtful and oftentimes proactive so that we actually reach out to partners to work with them to develop projects. And it's all about building the different forms of wealth so that our community can thrive. And when I talk about the different forms of wealth, these are the 7 that we're focused on, that they were from a model that the Ford Foundation did a number of years ago and that we adopted, from cultural to individual to intellectual, financial investments, natural, built, social, all of those. So these are the different forms of wealth that are necessary for a community to thrive. And our projects usually connect to one or more of these forms of wealth. And at our core, we have certain core values that we live every day and that we're constantly trying to improve. They include leading with integrity and respect for everyone, regardless of their station in life. We promote collaboration and we collaborate ourselves. There are a number of special projects that we work on with other funders, other grant makers within the state, also within the Appalachian region. So we're, for example, active members of the Appalachia Funders Network, as well as Philanthropy West Virginia. We see excellence in everything that we do. This is really one of our core values. We're always striving to improve our systems and the way that we do our work. We're advocates for inclusiveness, making sure that everyone has a voice and everyone has a seat at the table. We act with long-term perspective. So our proactive grant making area is really focused on investing over a long period of up to 5 years in most cases, so that we can really work to see impact. Because we realize if we fund you for just 1 year, it's hard to really make a big impact a significant impact within a year. So we look towards a long-term partnership. It's about building our community. Yes, we have a lot of needs in our community, but our community also has many assets. So it's about building upon those assets, core values. Just some basics about us. We are 59 years old as a community foundation here in the Greater Canal Valley. Our assets as of the end of last year were the highest they've ever been, 304 million in assets. And as a community foundation, we have a basket of funds, and as of the end of last year, we had 542 funds in our basket. Our grant making is broken up into different streams, but our discretionary grant making, it's the one you're most familiar with. And we made 146 grants, giving out $4.5 million. That's probably the largest number of grants we've distributed in discretionary grants in a 1 year time period. Our scholarship program is also very robust. We awarded 370 scholarships last year, totaling over $830,000. And even though our grant making is limited to 6 counties students statewide can apply for our scholarships. And those 6 counties that we focus on, you see them there: Boone, Clay, Fayette, Kanawha, Lincoln, and Putnam. So those are the counties, even though some of our grant programs extend beyond that, but these are for our discretionary grant making. These are the 6 counties we focus on. And our funds, like I mentioned, we as a community foundation, we have a bundle of funds, and there are different kinds of funds, from unrestricted to field of interest. So someone could establish a fund or leave us in their will and say, okay, I want it to go to health projects. So that would be considered a field of interest. And it will also be a part of our discretionary grant making. We have donor advised funds. These are funds where the donors would, a donor or a team of donors would recommend distributions to our board, and the board always has the final say, but the donors get to recommend the recipients of their funds. And our next type of fund is donor designated. That's where the donor can say, okay, I'm establishing this fund, and every year I would like our distribution to go to Covenant House, for example. So those are donor designated funds. And those funds can be endowed or unendowed. And when a fund is endowed, it means that we only live off the earnings. That's what we distribute. We distribute the earnings so that the funds can be there in perpetuity. So for the last few years, that percentage has been 4.5%. So that's about how much we would distribute every year from donor advised funds, so that, and donor designated funds, endowed funds in general, so that the funds can be there in perpetuity to help our community. Then we've got the scholarship funds, and there are also administrative funds. So these are the different types of funds that we manage as a foundation. And essentially what we do, folks, generous people from our community establish these funds, whether they're alive or they may leave us in their will. And funds are managed. We have a team, an investment committee, and guided by an investment consultant with Prime Buckholz. And they invest the funds, and then our grant making arm of things, we distribute those funds, a portion of those funds every year. So that's kind of how we function as a foundation. And if you or someone would like to establish a fund, you would just reach out to me or Kristen Mounts, who is our CFO, and you see our numbers there and our email addresses. So we'd be happy to help with that. And moving on to the rest of the presentation, I'm blessed to have a dynamic team of individuals who really, we call them our program team. Not that we run programs necessarily, but that they are the ones who help to support wonderful programs in our community and partner with our grantees. And you see them there. Stephanie Heyer is a senior program officer. We also have Megan Simpson, who manages our health portfolio, Todd Dorcas, who manages community economic development, Derek Vance, who handles basic needs and special initiatives. Sarah is she helps everyone in the team, and she's also the assistant support person for Susan Hoover, who handles our scholarships. And Candace Krell is our grants manager. So I'm going to turn you over to this dynamic team of our professionals here at the foundation.
Hi, everyone. I am Megan Simpson. I am the health program officer. Some fun facts about me is, well, first, one of the photos I chose to share since I was the health program officer, I wanted to give you all the photo of me getting my second vaccine, which was the Moderna vaccine. So might be hard to tell, but I'm wearing my Dolly Parton shirt in honor of her helping with that Moderna vaccine. I told everybody there that it was Dolly I was wearing, but they seemed a little preoccupied. And also another fun fact about me is I went to Purdue University and I am wearing my Purdue hat too. And I got that vaccine because it was early in the morning. And then I added a couple pictures of my dog, Ralphie. I think we all need to see some dog photos, and that was a great way to get started off. So there he is with one of his favorite toys, his heart, which is sadly no longer with us. So moving on, I just wanted to cover, I think Michelle basically did that for us too, but what is a community foundation? So a community foundation is a tax-exempt charitable organization that provides support primarily for the needs of the geographic community or region where it is based, from funds that it maintains and administers on behalf of multiple donors. The foundation invests the principal of each fund through its trustee banks and investment managers for the continued production of income. This income is distributed in the forms of grants and scholarships to a wide variety of organizations and individuals. The Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation ranks in the top 100 community foundations in the nation, and it's the largest community foundation in Central Appalachia. But TGKVF isn't the only foundation in West Virginia. There are 27 independent affiliate and area funds in West Virginia. Community foundations serve 52 of our state's 55 counties directly. Philanthropy West Virginia manages a website which will allow you to do a quick search to find out what a community foundation or fund covers in your county. So check out that website and we'll put that in the chat so you can get to it pretty easily. During today's webinar, you'll get to meet most of the members of our program team and have an overview of what we do. We will cover how our grant making works. The folks that work on our discretionary grants in the office are the grants program officers, Stephanie, Derek, Todd, and myself, and our grants administrator, Sarah Furrow, and our grants manager, Candace Krell. Our finance team also plays a big role with our grant applications. They are the folks that review those fund financials that are required with each application. And we'd like to get an idea of who's joining us today. So we're going to put a poll up on the screen. Let us know if you've received a TGKVF grant before. I always enjoy these polls to see how they go. So it looks like we have a lot of folks who are new to the process, and then a lot of folks who have also been able to get a grant. So thank you all for just helping us get an idea of who we're chatting with. It's always kind of hard with these webinar areas. So the foundation makes grants quarterly, and to apply for a grant, you must first be invited. So we hear a lot of folks who get on our website and are looking for that grant application, but first you have to reach out to one of the program team. Derek and Stephanie are going to update you more on the grants and those processes. For our scholarships, as Michelle said, they are made statewide. And the team at the foundation that focuses on those scholarships is our program officer, Susan Hoover. And then once again, we have Sarah and Candace. Thank goodness for them. And Sarah is going to give you an overview of our scholarship program today. And also Todd and Candace will review our capacity building opportunities and other initiatives that our team works on throughout the year. And as Stephanie told you, but please use the chat function and the Q&A during our webinar, and we'll answer questions in the chat as we go along, but we'll probably get to most of those at the end. And now I'm going to hand it off to our Basic Needs and Special Initiative Program Officer, Derek Vance, and I hope to see you all soon in person. So thank you.
Thanks, Megan. My name is Derek Vance, and I'm the Foundation's Basic Needs and Special Initiatives Program Officer. I've been with the Foundation for a couple of years now, and before that, I worked in development and grant writing for a number of nonprofits in the area. And I think that gives me a helpful perspective in my work as a program officer because I know what it's like firsthand to work so hard to get important programs funded. On the screen, you'll see some fun facts about me. And to be honest, I'm not sure how fun they are, but I do like the second one. And it's true that I did play in a band in college, and we were exclusively playing in state prisons in the South, and also a couple water parks in Myrtle Beach. So made for an interesting summer. You'll also see some pictures of me on the screen, and the photo in the middle has my parents with me. And there's also a couple of pictures of my retired racing rescue greyhound, Bruno, who I like to think is an honorary member of the program team as well. I'll be sharing a bit about the Foundation's various grant types during my section here. These grants are broadly characterized as proactive, responsive, special initiative, and competitive donor advised grants, and I'll try to explain each of these briefly. So first up, we have the Foundation's proactive grants, and this grant making focuses on projects that attempt to address the root causes that are negatively impacting the community. These grants broadly fall into the areas of education, community, economic development, and health, and my colleagues Stephanie Heyer, Todd Dorcas, and Megan Simpson manage those portfolios. I'll take each of these areas one at a time. So first up is education. So the Foundation's education grant making focuses on the overall goal of our communities becoming places where students from early childhood to the post-secondary level can build the skills, knowledge, and credentials they need to become productive and successful. Specific funded projects in this area will generally focus on out-of-school time tutoring, mentoring, or learning programs that focus on science, technology, engineering, math, arts, and reading education. Also, programs that focus on connecting families to their children's development, and programs that provide post-secondary guidance, career advising, and career and technical education to prepare students for jobs in promising economic sectors. As I said, Stephanie Heyer manages the education grant making, and she can certainly share more about priorities in education. So please reach out to her or anyone else in our team if you'd like to learn more. Next up is the Foundation's community economic development grant making. And this focuses on the overall goal of creating a safe, welcoming, and energizing environment that provides positive economic growth and an excellent quality of life for residents, businesses, and institutions in the area. Specific projects will generally focus on workforce development that includes career and technical education, guidance and support for unemployed residents pursuing post-secondary education, soft skills training and job placement assistance, also development of job opportunities, payable wages, business development programs that teach participants business planning and business operation skills, and projects that build the community's social fabric through economic means, such as local gathering places and visible improvements. So Todd Dorcas at the Foundation manages this grant making, so please reach out to him if you have questions or you'd like to learn more. And our last proactive area is the Foundation's health grant making, which focuses on the overall goal of creating healthy communities. Specific funded projects in this area will generally focus on capacity building for communities, organizations, and social entrepreneurs to develop healthy recreation activities and expand access to locally grown foods. They'll focus on the development of public green spaces, access to waterways, and the development of walking paths within the community, as well as access to preventative and behavioral health care in marginalized communities. So Megan Simpson, who just shared, manages this portfolio. So please reach out to Megan if you have any questions or you'd like to learn more about the Foundation's health grant making. So everything I've discussed so far is for the Foundation's proactive grants. Next up, we have the Foundation's responsive grant making, which focuses on projects that respond to community challenges by increasing access to resources for individuals and groups. These grants fall into the areas of basic needs and arts and culture. I lead the Foundation's basic needs grant making, and Stephanie Heyer manages arts and culture in addition to her education portfolio. The Foundation's basic needs grant making focuses on individual basic needs, which makes sense if you think about it. These things generally have to do with access to food, access to clothing, and issues in housing and homelessness. The Foundation's art and culture grant making focuses on projects that increase opportunities for communities to participate in diverse and artistic experiences. And grants will generally be to groups that provide opportunities in visual and performing arts, among other things. So the proactive and responsive areas I just shared make up the bulk of the Foundation's traditional competitive discretionary grant making. However, we do have other grant making avenues that come around from time to time, and these are generally considered special initiatives. Currently, the special initiative opportunities at the Foundation are dental health, emergency aid, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the Advancing Entrepreneurship Program, and the West Side of Charleston Initiative. So taking these briefly one at a time. The dental health program provides grants to organizations offering dental care to underserved or marginalized individuals. The emergency aid grant making makes grants for projects that provide direct assistance to individual emergencies and nonprofits that could encompass things like necessary building repairs or the replacement of necessary equipment, and also projects that provide services and resources around public crises such as the COVID pandemic or the substance use disorder epidemic that's in our area. Next up, the Foundation's diversity, equity, and inclusion area. It's rather new, and it's focused on providing services to individuals and groups that have historically lacked access because of their race, gender, or other identified characteristics. The Advancing Entrepreneurship Program provides funding to nonprofits for projects that are aimed at building the capacity of entrepreneurs, micro-enterprises, and small businesses in the region. And the West Side Initiative works to encourage strategic community-based change by concentrating grant funds and other assets in the area immediately surrounding Mary C. Snow Elementary on Charleston's West Side. So different members of our staff oversee each of these special initiatives. So please reach out to any of us if you'd like to learn more. And there's also information on the Foundation's website for you. Finally, we have the Foundation's competitive donor advised grant making. So as opposed to everything I've covered so far, where the Foundation's Board of Trustees has the discretion to determine fund allocations, the competitive donor advised grant making opportunities involve individual donors. It could be individuals, groups, or organizations where they determine where funding is allocated, and they will often use a competitive process to make those determinations. Each of these funds have their own grant guidelines and requirements, so I'd recommend checking out the Foundation's website to learn more. Generally, the James F.B. Payton Fund focuses on Greenbrier County in Southern West Virginia. The African American Philanthropy and Action Group provides grants to organizations serving the Black community in West Virginia. The C.C. Dickinson Family Giving Circle looks to fund projects focused on education and substance use treatment for women in recovery. And the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative Criminal Justice Reform Partnership provides funding for organizations working broadly in criminal justice reform efforts in West Virginia. Okay, so that was a lot of information about the Foundation's grant types, so thank you for bearing with me. If you have any questions about anything I've covered or you'd like to learn more, please reach out to me or any of my colleagues at the Foundation, and we'd be happy to help you learn more. I'll now turn the presentation over to Sarah Furrow, who's going to share about the Foundation Scholarship Program.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Furrow. I am the Administrative Assistant for the Foundation. So some fun facts about me. I'm a mother of the two most handsome redheaded boys in the world. I'm a little partial. They would describe me as hilarious, goofy, and a little bit crazy. I love spontaneous adventures, being outdoors, gardening. I love creating art, whether it be through painting or wood burning or getting out the power tools and building something. My husband, he won me over by taking me on my first camping trip, and now he can't get rid of me or the tent. But now that you know a little bit about me, let me introduce you to Susan Hoover, who is our Scholarship Program Officer. She is currently taking a much-deserved vacation right now. That's why I'm here talking to you about the scholarship program rather than her. She has been with the Foundation for 20 plus years. She is a wealth of information. So any kind of questions that you have, she likely has all of the answers to them. She loves her grandkids. She's always going to recitals and ball games, and she's texting with her grandbabies all the time, and she loves her dogs. She is a great coworker who's always kind and helpful, but even more so than that, she's a really incredible friend. Before I dive into our two scholarship program areas, we wanted to do another poll just to get an idea of our audience here today. We'd like to know, have you or anybody that you know ever applied to the TGKBF Scholarship Program? Looks like most of you have probably not. So hopefully this information will be new to you and you can take it and share with family members, loved ones, and friends. So I'll go ahead and go into our regular scholarship program. Our regular scholarship program is available once a year, every year, and it's online only. So you have to apply on our website. It's available November the 15th through the January 15th every year. I recommend that you follow us on Facebook because we make several announcements to serve as like a reminder, just to let you know that the application process is open and available for you to apply. We have over 100 different scholarship funds. However, you can only apply to 2. So being that there are so many funds available, I recommend also that you go in and you look through our available scholarships well in advance so that you can narrow it down to your top 2 choices. It can take a little bit more time than maybe that you expect, simply because there are so many funds available. Dr. Foster mentioned it earlier, and I'll reiterate it here now too. Our scholarship program serves all West Virginia residents. So unlike the discretionary program area where we serve the 6 counties, with scholarships, it doesn't matter where you are in West Virginia. If you're a West Virginia resident, you can apply. How is our scholarships determined? That is determined by volunteers that serve on an independent committee, not by the TGKVF staff. So, you know, if you think that you might be interested in ever serving on one of those committees, we're always open and looking for volunteers. Just reach out to Susan Hoover. Last year, we were able to award 370 scholarships. And this year so far, it looks to be about the same. We typically see anywhere from 600 to 800 scholarship applications every year. Though we wish that we could, award scholarships to every single applicant that we have, we wouldn't be able to serve as many as we do if it were not for the generosity of our donors. So we really appreciate our donors for what they make possible through their contributions. And on to our next program, which is our Bridge of Hope program. I would venture to say that every single one of us probably knows someone who has or is suffering with drug addiction. Well, this special initiative scholarship opportunity is for those who are in recovery. Maybe they're interested in pursuing training or an education program. So this is for those individuals. The applicant must be in good standing with their recovery programs requirements and also be participating in support groups. And the opportunity, unlike our regular scholarship program, is actually available twice a year. So it opens up March 1st and it's open until May 15th, and also September 1st until November 15th. And just like our regular scholarship program, it's only available online, so you have to access that application online on our website. We are so incredibly grateful for the opportunity to make an impact on our community. We get to help our next generation achieve their dream careers, even give opportunities to people who have suffered with drug addiction to start a new life. If you would like to donate to any of our scholarship funds, please feel free to send the donations to the foundation. And if you would like to serve as someone who gets to determine who is awarded those scholarships, reach out to Susan Hoover. We'd love to have your support. And also, if you would like to create your own legacy scholarship fund to leave behind for many generations to come, reach out to Krista Mounts. She is more than happy to talk you through that process. I really want to say thank you for being here today. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to tell you about our scholarship program. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and turn things over to our CED Program Officer, Todd Dorcas. Todd, you're on mute.
Hello and welcome. I'm going to be highlighting some of the TGKVF capacity building activities and other events that occurred in 2020. You know, it was a year in which you heard "you're muted," and it became the most popular phrase of all time. Yeah, 2020, right? So, but first, a couple of fun facts about me. I'll start with my other half. Some would say my better half. I proposed to my wife in Paris in front of the Bank's Luxembourg Gardens Palais, to be exact. I think the picture on the slide was at dinner later that evening. That was a really awesome adventure, and continuing. Another fact about me, I'm not sure how fun it was, but I used to race road bikes and would cycle over 10,000 miles a year training. Not so much fun, but I love the sport and I still follow the sport and am an enthusiast to that sport, for the sport. So there's a couple of things there. I'm going to keep a couple tucked away for another presentation. So the next, I guess, series of elements here is I'm going to talk about capacity building and some of our other events, sort of a 2020 review. The current slide highlights various workshops and webinars that took place in that muted year. My personal favorites were the Summit on Race Matters and our Building Bridges Leadership Institute. And you can see here from the slide that we did the Evaluation 101 webinar. Again, the Summit on Race Matters, Building Bridges Leadership Institute. We did advice for nonprofits on how to survive a recession. That was pretty cool. Outputs, outcomes, and demographics. Grant writing tips for understaffed nonprofits. That's some serious stuff, and it was very good as well. And we also did a couple sessions, workshops on West Virginia Criminal Justice Reform Grant information sessions to go along with our earlier mentioned CZI. And we also did a draft application feedback session. You can also visit our website to learn more, tgkvf.org, at the events page. So other communications and recognitions. Philanthropy, our Philanthropy and Friends and Community Connections series are locally produced and are a 15-minute interview that hits three audiences. Those audiences are cable TV, YouTube, and podcast. And those are really effective, and it's a great way to showcase and highlight what our nonprofit organizations and grantees are doing within our communities. So looking forward to 2021, we've got several things in the works. And if you've missed our annual report to the community and would like to see it again, check out our website at tgkvf.org for the recording. So we had such good feedback on the BBI, the Building Bridges Leadership Institute, in 2020. We're going to reboot it in 2021. And these are going to be with topics selected by, that's right, you guys. So that's a series that's going to take place from July to the end of the year, December. And we're going to have, it will be limited to 40 organizations with one representative per session. And scholarships will be available to the organizations that register for the sessions. It's a lot of information here. We're looking forward to that reboot this year, and anything else that we can help you with, feel free to let us know. So I'm going to now turn it over to Candace Krell, our grants manager. Take it away, Candace.
Hi, everyone. My name is Candace Krell, and I am the grants manager here at TGKBF. Some fun facts about me. I love bacon. The best gift I ever got was 5 pounds of bacon for Christmas because my dad knows how much I enjoy bacon. And I once bowled a 260, but I have not broken 100 since. So I was doing really well and started to gather a crowd and choked a little bit there at the end. I think about it every day. It keeps me up at night. But those are just some fun facts about me. I've got some pictures over here. This is my husband. We like to do a lot of traveling. We have 2 pugs here and a cat. And then in 2020, we had what we call our 3rd pug, and that is our daughter, Roosevelt. So she's been so much fun. She just turned 6 months yesterday. So we've really been enjoying the newest addition to our family. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our data and evaluation resources that we have available. We do have a lot of evaluation tools that are required in our applications and reporting. So we collect demographics, or we have you collect demographics on the people that you're serving. We do that as capacity building to help teach grantees how to collect that type of information in the hopes that that will open other additional funding opportunities for you all. So it is one form of capacity building that we do. But we know that that can be a little intimidating if you've never really approached evaluation that way. So we do have some tools to help you out. We have the evaluation consultants, and those are offered in collaboration with Midwest Evaluation and Research, who is our external evaluator. And those are open to grantees. So if you're going through the application process and you have some questions and you're going through and you've been approved and you want to ask questions for reporting, or you're just not quite sure where to get started, we do have those available where you could meet with our evaluator and they can kind of offer you some coaching and resources to help you through that. I believe we added this last year, was open calls before the draft application deadline. So anyone who is going through the application, that would be available to you. These are interactive calls, so you want to make sure you're video ready. And we do like to just kind of open it up. There's no agenda for these calls. You come in, you dial in, and you bring any questions or concerns you have. There'll be other grantees there as well. So even if you don't have questions, it's always a good resource to go ahead and attend, because maybe someone will bring something up that you hadn't thought of. So there's a lot of good information sharing in those sessions. And that is, again, in collaboration with Midwest Evaluation and Research. And then coming soon in 2021, we are planning a resource library. That will be available on our website, and it will have a bunch of different tools, from sample data collection surveys to help guide you in the right direction on how to collect that data. There's going to be logic model tools to help walk you through the logic model, tools to help you create target estimates, because at the application phase, you're going to create a target estimate of who you think you're going to serve. And then during the reporting, if your grant is approved, then you'll tell us who you served. So you'll want to have those tools in place and be thinking about that during the application phase, so that you'll know how to collect that data throughout the course of your project. And always, if you have questions, you can always reach out to any of us. For content related questions, it might be a good place to start with your program officer. But of course, you can reach out to any of us, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction. For data related questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and my email and phone number is available down there. In 2020, we did boot a resource. with COVID, it did just kind of revolutionize the way that people worked, and that left a lot of nonprofits working remotely without the tools to really work that way and just feeling a little lost. So we came up with the tech tools for nonprofits. And I've got just a few examples here. We're hoping to bring you more videos here in the future. These are videos. There's also some walkthrough documents. So if you have ideas, you can reach out to me. I would love to hear from you if there's something that you need help figuring out, and we can make a video to do that. Right now, there's some application and reporting pitfalls for TGKVF applicants, and that is available on our website. I would definitely recommend, if you are new to TGKVF, just go ahead and check it out. That can kind of give you an idea of what the process is. Processing documents without a printer. We had a lot of people working remotely, and how do you scan documents? How do you get things where you need to go? How do you sign documents? So that kind of walked you through that. And then marketing, graphic design, and promotion is also available. So those are all on our website. And again, please feel free to reach out to me with any other topics that might be helpful for you. And with that, I'm going to turn it on over to Stephanie Heyer, who is our Education and Arts and Culture Program Officer.
Thanks, Candace. So I am Stephanie. I'm Senior Program Officer at the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. Next year will mark my 10th year working for TGKVF, which is just wild to think about. I lead our education and our arts grant making. Some things you might not know about me is that I have two ornery little boys named Benny and Jack. My partner, John, is a musician. His face has now made 2 cameos in our slide deck today because he also plays for one of Michelle Foster's favorite musical acts, which is the Bob Thompson Unit. So I always tease Michelle that his picture pops up in her presentations, but my picture doesn't pop up in her presentations. I love to travel. So here is a picture of me on this slide of my sister and me at Joshua Tree National Park in California. And throughout the pandemic, I think we were all doing things a little differently. I have never been a big baker, but throughout COVID, I perfected the art of blueberry pie making. And as a special prize for registering for today's webinar, I will share my top secret recipe with anyone who emails me. So that is just a little treat for you all. Something else you may not know is that I moonlight as a yoga instructor, and we've all been sitting here through the webinar for 48 minutes now. So we are going to ask you to get into your down dog position. I'm just kidding. We'll just go through a little yoga stretch. Maybe notice how you're sitting and get re-energized. You can align your spine by stacking the vertebrae, maybe taking the shoulders, lifting them up towards the ears, and then exhale, melt them down the back. Start to bring the crown of your head a little higher up towards the ceiling while your hips and your seat sink into your chair. Pause. With your next inhale, take a nice big breath, lift the arms up. Oh, exhale, relax the arms back down. And then one more time, big inhale, really use the full capacity of your lungs. And then exhale slowly through the nose. And then just any other little small movements, get your fidgets out, maybe stand up. And again, just take care of yourself throughout our session today. Now that we're all re-energized, we'll keep going. So I'm going to tell you about a couple more initiatives that the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation is a part of. And those are coming up, 2 more special collaborations that we're a part of. So these are 2 more opportunities for applicants to apply and receive funding. They are Charleston Creativity Connections. This is an artist support and creative placemaking initiative that the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation started convening in 2018. And the other is the Boone County Community Foundation, created in 2001 and then renamed in 2004. The Boone County Community Foundation, also known as BCCF, we love our acronyms around here. It is an affiliate of the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation, and like TGKVF, it also awards discretionary grants, donor-advised grants, and post-secondary scholarships for students wishing to continue their education. So I'll give you a little deeper dive into Charleston Creativity Connections, or also known as CCC. It is a collaboration among lots of folks, including artists, businesses, community leaders. We have really generous support for the initiative from lots of funders, both locally and regionally. You have an infographic there on the slide in front of you, where you can see some of our supporters there at the bottom. They include the Claude Worthington Benodum Foundation, BB&T Now Truist, the Glotfelty Foundation, the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation, Martha Russell Gaines Worley Family Foundation, the Annie and Gaines Worley Foundation, and also the Mayor Foundation has also contributed to the effort. In 2020, in the midst of this global pandemic, we didn't want to slow our progress down with this artist support initiative. So we went ahead and hired a contract staff person, Brian Cooper, started on April 15th of 2020. He is the initiative's connector, and it's his job to broker relationships among artists and businesses, community organizations, all with the idea of helping to better support our artists and get more paying gigs for our creative folks in Charleston of all different genres, performing arts, culinary arts, visual, literary. The purpose of the work is really to drive creative placemaking, which we define as when artists participate in community building activities and help advance economic development. So the infographic there just shows a few of our achievements over the first staff year of the initiative. So you can see at the time the initiative was made in February, we had made 15 mini grants. We're now up to 20 mini grants directly to artists or community-based organizations to seed their social practice or community development art throughout Charleston. So those have included some performing arts, filmmaking, live music events, digital music events. And you can learn more about it by visiting the website there. I highly encourage you to check out this website, www.getcreativewestvirginia.com. The website was created by Brian, and it includes opportunities for artists. So there's a page that details education opportunities, professional development. There's a place where it talks about these mini grants that can go directly to artists. They're for up to $5,000. Since the initiative started making these grants in August of 2020, up until now, they've funded over $75,000 worth of arts funding for individual artists and the projects that they're implementing throughout the city. And over 100 artists have been paid through this work already. I, again, encourage you to check out the website. It also includes a place where artists can create their own profiles so that you can upload videos, examples of your work, and then businesses, potential patrons, folks who are visiting the town can get to know what a creative community we have, and then possibly commission the artists directly to meet whatever their creative needs are. So definitely check it out. If you're an artist, create a profile. If you're not an artist, still browse it so you can get an idea of what our small community has to offer. And we are still fundraising for this effort. So if you'd like to get on board, please reach out to me and be a part of Charleston Creativity Connections. I also want to talk a little bit about the Boone County Community Foundation. The Boone County Community Foundation's mission is to enrich the community by inspiring people to care for each other and future generations through service and charitable giving. You see a picture there of Connie Phillips. Connie is the Boone County Community Foundation Managing Director. You also have her email address there in case you'd like to touch base with her regarding information on how to set up a fund and become a donor to the Boone County Community Foundation, or how to apply for a grant or scholarship that would benefit a student in Boone County or the Boone County community. Connie has a very calming voice. She has talked me off the ledge a few times, so I highly encourage you to reach out to her. The Boone County Community Foundation is an affiliate of the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. So all donations that are given to BCCF are pooled with the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation's investments and managed by those professional companies. In 2020, BCCF awarded 16 discretionary grants, 5 education mini grants to support teachers directly in their classrooms, 7 donor advised grants, and 7 post-secondary scholarships to students. So if you're interested in learning more, reach out to Connie or visit the Boone County Community Foundation website, which is there on your screen. Okay, so some pro tips for working with program officers at the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. I'll just list a few. How to develop a relationship with us, please just reach out. You can call us anytime or email us, and we can schedule a time to chat and learn about what you're doing in the community. So please feel free to get in touch. We like to hear from you. How to get started. So if you're interested in funding and have never applied for support from Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation before, Derek gave us a nice overview of some of our different programs, program areas that we fund in, including education, health, community economic development, basic needs, arts and culture. One of your first steps is to get in touch with the program officer, and then they will likely direct you to our project summary form. If you're a brand new applicant with a brand new project, this project summary form can be found on our website at www.tgkvf.org, and it's under the grants section under forms and resources. And the project summary form is just a downloadable Word document. It's meant to be short, no more than 3 pages, certainly. Some are just a page. And it's just an idea for us in writing about the who, what, where, when, and why of your project. So we can have that to share with our reviewers who are the real decision makers when it comes to funding. They make recommendations to our board of trustees. If the project doesn't seem like a good fit with our funding or our budget doesn't allow us to support it at that time, we can always use the project summary form to pass along to other funders who might be interested. We try to collaborate with others in the philanthropic community to leverage impact and share projects. But we might also hold on to that project summary form for future use when our budget does allow for more funding, or we're specifically looking for a project in the geographic area that you serve. So that project summary form is a great tool, and we'll hang on to that. You can just submit it to the designated program officer in that funding area as an email attachment. If you are hoping to become a grantee or already are a grantee, please stay in touch with us by inviting us to visit your program or event. If you are opening a new site, having a ribbon cutting, let us know that it's happening. We love site visits and getting out of the office to see what's happening on the ground in the region we serve. Sometimes we can bring along grant reviewers with us, but we would love to get out and see what your program is doing in action. So let us know. A few more tips, just keep us informed. So put us on your newsletter list, send us program updates, especially if you're a grantee. I always love to hear from folks, even if it's just dashing off a couple lines in an email. It doesn't have to be formal, or it doesn't even have to be complete sentences. Just let me know what's happening with you, and I'll be glad to stay in touch. For grantees, please communicate your challenges. We don't want you to sugarcoat. We would much rather you be candid with us about the obstacles you're facing, so that we can try to help you troubleshoot or connect you with additional resources. So a lot of us are former grant writers or nonprofit staff. So we know that proposals don't always go as planned, probably rarely go as planned exactly. So we are understanding and just want to help and be a real partner with you in your community work. For applicants, please note due dates for applications and reporting. We offer a draft application first. Todd mentioned that in his section, that we go through your draft application, provide you some thorough feedback, and then after you've had an opportunity to integrate that feedback or clarify areas that might need some additional information, then you can submit the final application. All of our grants have final reports at the end of the grant period. Most of those are 12 months. And then some of our grantees also have a formal interim report at the 6-month mark. You can also find us on social media. So I mentioned earlier that this webinar today is part of our Facebook Live. We are also on Twitter. I think we might also be on Instagram now. So there are lots of ways to stay in touch with the foundation. We often share RFPs, requests for proposal opportunities, as well as just community events, news throughout the region and throughout the state. So definitely follow us on those social media channels. And then lastly, join our mailing list. So we send out an email blast. I think we're up to maybe 600 or 700 email addresses just on our regular email list. We also have an even larger email list. I think some of you attended the Summit on Race Matters. So we put out a lot through those emails about upcoming trainings, grant opportunities, capacity building work. So that's just one more way to stay in touch with us. That's all we have for you today. So we have saved some time here at the end. It's just now about 5 minutes after 12. I know that we've received some questions already in the chat. I see Michelle has joined us back on screen, so I'll let her take it away.
How about everyone join us back on screen and we could stop sharing and answer questions?
So I jotted down a few questions there from the beginning. I think a few more have come in, but the first one that I saw was, does the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation fund programs, research, or services? And I'm happy to take that one. I think most of our grants are focused primarily on programs. and direct service, but we also have at times funded comprehensive plans or some research. I would say it's less often that we fund those kinds of grants and more often that we fund programmatic services. Another question that came in, and maybe Candace, you would want to take this one. How does the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation view evaluation from grantees?
Yeah, so I covered that a little bit in our slides, but it was just a brief overview. So through our application process, we do require some demographic data. Also, we have some measurements that correlate to our forms of wealth. So what we'll have you do is through the application process, first you'll fill out the logic model, and that will walk you through the project. You'll tell us like your outputs, how many items you plan to provide to your participants, things like that. And those are all estimates at the application phase. You're not going to be penalized if you provide an estimate and then when you get to reporting, it doesn't match up. Obviously, 2020 was an interesting year for grant making. So there were a lot of projects that had to completely change in nature, and we understand how that happens. So the application process, you'll do your targets, and then we also will provide you, if your grant is approved, with your MOU, there's a copy of your report so that you'll know what is coming, so that you will not, it's not going to be a surprise to you. And of course, if you have questions, you can always reach out. I always recommend thinking about evaluation during even the application phase, because once your grant is approved, you are going to have to think about how you're going to collect that information, whether it be demographic data or your outcome data that you're choosing measurements of. Maybe your project helped people attend a high school diploma, and you need to figure out how you're going to track that throughout the duration of your project. And we can definitely help with that. We have the consultations with Midwest Evaluation and Research. We can do one-on-one coaching and set up some calls to help you with that. So we are definitely a resource to help walk you through evaluation.
And just to add to that, overall, a part of our role is to help our grantee partners to be stronger in what they do. Evaluation is a part of that. By evaluation, we can really determine whether or not our programs are doing what we think that they're going to be, that they were designed to do. So we look at evaluation as just, looking back and trying to determine whether we are achieving the goals that we set out to do. So whatever support our grantees need to make that a reality, we are here to provide that. We use, in our proactive applications, we include a logic model that is already laid out. And a lot of times you just have to check check a desired outcome that you're working towards. Then we have the consultants who are available to meet with you, your organization, your team, one-on-one to help you select the appropriate evaluation tool. So evaluation is important to us, but it's really about you making sure that what you're doing is being effective. And all we're doing is really molding you for the larger funders out there. Because for state and federal grants, evaluation is super important. So what we are getting you ready for is for that next phase of your fundraising, where you would have major evaluation components to your projects.
Yeah, we do. We look at it as a form of capacity building as well. So it really is in trying to coach you through that collection so that there will be other funding opportunities for you.
What are some of the other questions we have out there?
One of the questions was, does The Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation offers scholarships for students attending school out of state. And I think Megan answered that one in the chat, but just to reiterate, we have over 100 different scholarship funds, and they all have their own requirements, but lots of those will support an out-of-state school student attending an out-of-state.
So the answer is yes, and for the students to be able to apply, they have to be in school. They have to be from West Virginia, an applicant that is a student in West Virginia, but they can go to schools wherever outside of West Virginia.
Exactly. Sarah, did you have anything to add to that, or did we cover it?
No, I think that covers it. That's why I suggest, since there are so many, just to really look through, because some have restrictions, but there's a lot of our scholarships that don't have any kind of restrictions at all whatsoever. So be sure to look at it, because with over 100 funds, it might take you a little bit of time, but there's a lot there that's available to everybody.
Sarah, do you want to share that page of the website in the chat?
Yes.
Thanks. Another question was, would you consider holding a meeting that structures a conversation on race issues among grantees?
Yes. Reach out and we can certainly plan that.
Great. Regarding the Charleston Creativity Connection, someone asked, do you have to be a Charleston artist, or can you live in Kanawha County? The initiative is primarily focused on Charleston, though I think that they've looked at some of the surrounding places. I believe there was a St. Albans resident who participated in one of the grant making projects. So it is a Charleston-based initiative, but we have a pretty blurry definition of Charleston. So I suggest reaching out to Brian Cooper to get more information on that, and I will put his email address in the chat. Another question was about the Building Bridges Leadership Institute. I saw where Elizabeth gave us a shout out in the chat. Thank you so much. It was great having you participate last year. But really the question was just a little more information about Building Bridges Leadership Institute. Todd, I think, shared the section of the website, but we are opening up registration here in the next couple of weeks for that 2021 reboot of the program. It's 6 sessions. It will start July 30th. The registration for all 6 sessions for the whole series is $25. We do have scholarships available if that would present a challenge for you or your organization. We're asking that new participants come be a part of Building Bridges Leadership Institute, so the same organization can participate, but we ask that you send a different staff member. It's for seasoned and emerging leaders. You get to design what the program looks like by voting on topics. And what else, Michelle?
I think that's pretty much it. We include local and national presenters, and we leave time for peer-to-peer learning. So it's foundation staff, we get off the line and just to give you time to, talk amongst yourselves and, work some of your challenges out without us hearing. I'm looking in the chat there. There's a question from Charlotte Webb about the funds available for Lincoln and Putnam. Boone and, Lincoln and Boone. Those counties are included in our footprint for all of our discretionary programming, so.
And program officers are always looking for projects in Lincoln and Boone County. I think most of our applications come from Kanawha County because that's where we have it's the most population, and it's also the most nonprofits are established here. But we're always really interested in how we can support our more rural counties, including Boone and Lincoln, also Clay, Putnam, Fayette, And then the Boone County Community Foundation specifically, they make grants just in Boone County, and you can apply to the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation and receive a grant for your work in Boone County. And you can also apply to the Boone County Community Foundation and receive a grant from them as well. So you're not precluded from one grant opportunity or the other. We do share some grantees.
And Charlotte, I see your follow-up question. If there's a specific topic or any projects, just look over if you can remember some of the areas that Derek covered and see what program officer that relates to. So if you have a project and say, I'm not sure if this is health or education, feel free to, send an email to Stephanie and I together or call one of us and we can set up a meeting and just talk to you. There's a lot of times where you have a project that could fit in several of our buckets, and you'll meet with all the program officers and we help you decide if you're ready to apply and where, we could best fund them from. So basically just reach out to us and we'll help figure it out for you.
Could we share the link to the grant overview booklet in the chat?
Sure.
Lori, when it comes to topics regarding racism and race, I'm the contact. You can contact me directly. What else do we have out there?
We also have a question about whether funding for lighting or infrastructure, improving drainage might be considered. And the answer is yes, it could be. It might fall under various program areas. I know Megan had one recently in health that was to improve pedestrian safety. Todd Dorcas, our community economic development program officer, has had placemaking and improvement kinds of projects before. So those would be considered. Todd, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so typically we fund programmatic activities, and it could be tied to a program that fits education, health, or community economic development, then possibly, yeah, it's worth reaching out to us specifically to get an idea of what you're talking about. And specifically within my bucket, community economic development, how it might impact the community and going forward. So yeah, it's worth reaching out to us.
We also had a question about whether the foundation would provide grants for 4-H programs or special equipment for training. And the answer is yes. We've provided grants for 4-H in the past. For 5 or 6 years, we supported the STEM Ambassador Program through WVU Extension with a special focus on 4-H programs. That came through our education grant-making area, and it impacted all 6 counties. So while it would probably be less likely that we would fund one individual 4-H program in one county that wasn't partnering or collaborating with other entities, it is something we've considered in the past. So please reach out to us. I don't see any other questions. Team, do you all? Did I miss one? Well, it looks like we can wrap up about 10 minutes early. Dr. Foster, did you want to say anything here at the end?
Thanks for coming, y'all. And we look forward to working with you, whether it's in a partnership for funding or capacity building or convening of any kind. Feel free to reach out to us. We appreciate you for showing up today. And thank you to the program team. You guys did an awesome job. Proud, proud, proud. Take care, everyone. Oh, and one thing I was thinking, if you received we are doing a grantee perception survey. So if you've received information from the Center for Effective Philanthropy, please complete your survey. We want to have some good feedback from you all. So please complete that survey And I think we sent it out to folks who received grants last year, maybe. So please return your survey. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.